What's up, everybody? Sean Patrick Greene, aka Sean P. Greene. I'm here for another edition of this Sean P. Greene show. Yes, I'm wearing green today. I know it's a couple days late, but I haven't been on the show in a couple weeks, and I'll get to that in a second. But I'm Sean P. Greene. I'm your host, the Sean P. Greene Show, with the glass glare and all. I'm doing my best, man. Do my best. And I right now don't have any background still because I was on a road trip. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. My last show was my interview with Brinson out of Jacksonville, Florida. And we had a good conversation about his God Chasers documentary and a little bit about his career and kind of like our connection. So I'm surprised that this green screen shirt is not blurring or whatever also, but at any rate, 'tis the season. St. Patrick's Day was 4 days away behind me, 4 days back. And we also, since the last show, we went forward in the clocks. So we are actually at 9 a.m. if you want to consider daylight savings time as your time slot. But now Congress has put in something to permanently have daylight savings time. So interesting. There's a lot that's happening since I last had the show. And of course, I don't get too political, but I do make a couple comments here and there. All right. So in sports, the biggest thing, the controversy with a transgender male to female winning at the transgender male to female winning an NCAA tournament for swimming against biologically, born women, and how bad that feels to some people. So there's a lot going on with that. I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to be considered a hater of any kind, because God says love your neighbor as yourself, love one another. So I'm not gonna speak hate about anything. However, I feel, in my opinion, it's unfair. That's all I'm gonna say. Got a call from St. Louis here. Hang on. You know what? Maybe I gotta go to my Google Voice. Somebody might be trying to call me. I don't have this open, so nope, nobody called me. So somebody's trying to call me from St. Louis. I'll get back to him. At any rate, other controversies. Something that got me blocked on Facebook and Twitter a couple years ago was the story that the New York Post put up about Hunter Biden's laptop. And it got blurred. I've seen it so many times. Hundreds of people were posting, reposting, whatever. And they could not flag everybody fast enough. But it seemed like anybody who had any post about the Hunter Biden laptop with all kinds of bad stuff on it. I'm not going to get into it. Whoever posted the New York Post article got flagged and banned, and it was a big deal. I mean, it could have made or broken Joe Biden's presidency had they didn't have a swift counter attack by the social media companies, other media companies that were left leaning. It could have done some damage and possibly given Donald Trump the presidency. I mean, there's so much stuff that's going to be unearthed as time progresses, and everybody who's against so many things, I watched it. I watched so many people. They have to backtrack and they don't want to talk about it no more, about topics that happen in the past when it reveals itself to be what the truth was. They sweep it under the rug and they won't talk about it no more. Time has passed, and to them it's old news when it was fake news in the very beginning. I've seen so many different incidences. Not all of them. I mean, there are some legitimate conspiracy theories that were debunked. Okay, I'm not gonna go into which one. I'm not breaking down all of them, but there are different, so many different stories that have been, revealed to be true. So, you can't trust anybody in the media. The social media is definitely against everybody who doesn't, you know, doesn't work towards their belief system. So getting banned and shadow banned or whatever they call it, getting getting bumped out of the system so that you can't spread any, even a thought or an idea about something, questioning things. I always say question everything. And I think because of that, because of my thinking, I lose a lot of people in my sphere of influence. So I'm on YouTube, just so everybody knows. Here I am, ShawnPGreene.com. Make sure you check it out, okay? Let's make sure I put the tickers up there. ShawnPGreene.com. This is March 21st, 2022, first day of spring. And it's a nice day out, actually. It's about 40 degrees here in Buffalo, New York. Nice sunny day though, no weather patterns coming through. We have no snow. We have no rain in the forecast that I know of. I haven't looked at it yet, but it's a beautiful day to go walking, driving, whatever, just to get out. However, I've done plenty of driving. I don't want to do any more, and I'll get to that in a second. I talked a little bit about my little vacation, but yeah, you can go to my YouTube page. Shawn P. Greene is real simple to find, but you can go to ShawnPGreene.com for the link. I'm on Twitch right now. See, my head's moving around. Watch. See if my head does that. I like doing double things. Watch. Here it comes. Maybe. Anyways, I'm on Twitch. And what they do in the episodes is they keep them there for 14 days, then they stop hosting them there. So you got to go to YouTube to watch them again, or my Twitter. Some YouTube though, some of them, like one of them I did about the American flag, and I played the national anthem for what's her name? Um, what is her name? There it is. There's my head shaking. Okay, so you got me on Twitch, and then Twitter. But on YouTube, they flagged the Whitney Houston's, you know, the national anthem. So I had to delete it, but I put the link on that particular song so that you could watch it. But my reaction to it was not on YouTube, so I had to. It was on Twitch for a little while, but it's on my Twitter page. You can look it up a couple weeks back if you're interested. All right. So, and I also have the Facebook page, Shawn P. Greene Show. Make sure you like the page because I post after all the episodes. I post my links from YouTube on there, so you can watch them later. All right. Anyways, what I really wanted to get into today was my little vacation. That's all I want to talk about. The good times. You know what I mean? The good fun times. What did I do this vacation? I had a lot of good experiences. I mean, this whole winter, I missed all the beautiful moments in the winter time. Like, for instance, we left about 22nd of December. Because of the weather, which was snow, came down pretty hard here in Buffalo, and throughout the East Coast, there was a lot of weather patterns. Kind of kept us down in Florida a little bit longer than expected. Came back, oh, a couple weeks into, well, about a couple days into February. Excuse me. I don't know. I don't remember when, but anyways, we had a lot of fun. That's 2 months basically. Not really the first 2 weeks because we had COVID right after Christmas. It was 2 weeks of just having nothing. But after that, spent some time with family. Got out a little bit, experienced fresh air and sunshine, and basically avoided all this snow shoveling. Thankfully, that my neighbor did. I always let him use the driveway when I'm gone for his second car. So, but they shoveled all that snow while I was gone, and yeah, I'm grateful for it. So I owe him a lot. So it's good to have good neighbors. I do want to show you a couple of these pictures on my Google Photos that basically automatically load up for my phones. This here is Bentley. That's one of my niece's sons. There's Maya. That's one of my nieces. My dad. And I started making memes out of this one. I got a bunch of memes. I just cropped this out. I just thought it was a great picture. So I got memes that I'm posting up on certain places right now. But good wedding, great time. My niece Amanda and her beautiful husband Tyson had a great time. Good family reunion. I got some video somewhere. Actually, I do have clips of things on a camera that I brought with me. So then I hung out at my bro's house. Rosemary and Mariah hanging out with me, and I got we had some, what I mean, good times. And then just kind of checking out the gas prices. I was as I was going along. This is like the big thing is how the price of gas changed so quickly within the time I left in December to the time I decided to go back down there for a week for the wedding. That was really the purpose of going down there for taking this break. These last 2 weeks was the wedding for my niece. But you see, I have an old meme here about some, gas prices back in the 70s. I don't know if that's a Chevy Nova. I mean, I could be wrong. Somebody can correct me. What type of vehicle this is. And I don't know about this rheumatoid or arthritis meme. Okay, it's the Crips. Please don't kill me. Don't shoot me. But here we go. $60. This is the most in this car I've had that I've ever had to spend on gas to fill it up. And I think it's a 14-gallon tank. I think it was a pretty solid. So I got it up to $60 on one. $4.25 a gallon. I used credit, so it's $4.34. 9 cents more for this pump. Somewhere in Florida at a marathon. All right, Rosemary, Mariah. We went to a place called Coney Island Hot Dogs. There's my mom and myself with my hippie hair. Fantasy footballs around the corner. You see me with that shirt on pretty soon. And nice little collage. How beautiful. There's my dad and I. He's chilling in his room. He wasn't doing too well. I'll get into that in a second also. But apparently, he had a good time at the wedding. So he took a little fall and he bumped his head. But all is well. All is well. All right, so here's another gas prices here. All right. 43. I just kind of topped it off. I didn't fill the whole tank up all the way. But I don't have the prices on this one. All right. So, anyways, there it is. Okay, 4:15. This is probably heading back. They noticed this sticker, the "I did that" sticker. Somebody ripped it off. Possibly somebody that works at the store or somebody who voted for him. So there we are on the road. And I'm not sure why I just took a picture. Oh, that's my daughter Mariah. She enjoys the trip up here. All right. Let's see. What else have we got? All right. Hung out with Ariana, Aaron. Had some pizza at this place called My Pie. MYPIE. My Pie. And it was phenomenal. That was a good spot. All right. More gas. $4. This was probably on the way up, either in Alabama or I'm not sure where this was. I think it was in Alabama. But here's a couple pictures from really what I did on St. Patrick's Day. Now, first of all, before I get into all this, St. Patrick's Day is a bitter sweet day for me. Obviously, I have some, you know, I have some Irish heritage in my blood through my father. I also have some French Canadian blood on my mother's side. So St. Patrick's Day, though, is a well celebrated event here in South Buffalo. However, we were not in South Buffalo for this year's St. Patrick's Day, but we've always enjoyed it. It's everybody's wearing green, all that stuff. It's really exciting. And we have great parades here. And the last 15 years been a resurgent of Buffalo celebrating St. Patrick's Day in a big way, having two parades. They had it this past weekend. Did not go to any of them. I was still tired, and the weather was so I wasn't interested. But we had two parades here in Buffalo. One on Saturday at the Old First Ward, is what they call it, the southern part of downtown, and then they had it in Delaware Avenue, which is the second parade on Sunday. And they do that every single year. So two parades: Saturday Old First Ward, Sunday downtown. So I decided though to go to Nashville this year. Once again, however, it's a bittersweet day. It is also the birth of my child, who really has nothing to do with me, and rightfully so. Full confession, was not a good. I was not there. I was not a participant in her life. I tried a couple times. It was pushed back. For whatever I've done wrong in the past, that lost trust from the mother made it impossible for me to be around my child. And we've tried a couple times, and it was always a frustrating visitation. When they lived out in California. But my daughter Sadie, I still call her my daughter. She's still my blood. Turned 28, and she's born on St. Patrick's Day. So every St. Patrick's Day, and I've tried a couple times, even in the recent past, to connect with her, and for whatever reason, I am not somebody she wants to have in her life. So I'm always open, I'm always ready, but I'm also going to be moving forward and enjoying my time on this earth. But the moment that she's ready, I'm ready. So true, that's my confession for today. There's a lot worse situations, a lot worse scenarios, and I was in a bad place 30 years ago, really. And there's no forgiveness, there's no acceptance, and we'll just go from there. So here we go. What did I do then? Me, Rosemary, and Mariah. Mariah is my second daughter. She's gonna be 20 next month. We took a trip from Florida. Instead of going we have a couple routes that we take normally back or forth. We went an alternate route. Instead, we went to Nashville, Tennessee, and this Chicago might have been an alternative place to go, but I think we were limited on time. Chicago River, if you don't know, St. Patrick's Day, they turn it green. They, I don't know why, but everybody seems to enjoy it. I don't think they turn it any other color for any other holiday, but green seems to be the color for Chicago, and I think that's because of the settlement back in middle 1800s. A lot of Irish settled in Chicago. I mean, Ireland's weather patterns are probably similar in the north of U.S. But Chicago, Boston, even South Buffalo, along the Great Lakes, Milwaukee, and even Savannah, Georgia, is full of Irish. So here, this is Belmont. Yeah, it's Belmont University, I think. Yeah. So I was just driving around, taking pictures, and we went downtown. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, there's a lot of beautiful architecture. It's one thing I like about cities. When I go visit a city, I always look for the architecture. I don't necessarily worry too much about the economy. I look at the architecture, some of the old style buildings, the newer style buildings, and even the stadium, the Nissan Stadium where the Tennessee Titans play. It's a beautiful stadium, but this little area at the very edge along the river, there's a lot of it's kind of quiet back there. I think the Hard Rock Cafe is right on this side, yet right there. AT&T building was over there, but this end is usually quiet, which is ironic because you would think this area would be blocked. It's a bigger city than Buffalo. Buffalo will definitely block off a section of a city to celebrate, but they don't block any of these cities off or these roads off. Oh yeah, here's my tank. 429 in Nashville at a Circle K. There's the college again. Rosemary and I and Mariah, we went as a tourist. We went to the museum for what's his name, Johnny Cash, the Man in Black. We had a good time. I enjoyed it. It was fun to see. Good food, fried chicken. I had country fried steak. That's my daughter Mariah. She's amazing. She's so funny. She was laughing. She was having a good time. There's a clip driving down Broadway towards the river. Bridgestone Arena. It's where Nashville Predators. They were just playing a game there that day. So not only did they have the big crowds of people watching a hockey game, but they were also spring breakers and bunch of spring breakers, St. Patrick's Day celebration. No, spring break, and it's St. Patrick's Day. So just showing more of the scenery. These are some of the video clips. Again, that's along the river where Nissan Stadium
That's the
is.
river. It's not much of a river walk, but that's the stadium. That's where the football team plays.
And a couple smaller clips. This is like, I don't know what that was. But this is where we hung out. Johnny Cash's museum. Ate at the whatever they call it. Everybody was asking me why I wasn't wearing green. I don't know. I could have I could have been more prepared for it, but so Cat Patsy Cline, and we ate here at the Johnny Cash Bar and Barbecue. But it's a nice little drive. It really is. Driving through town, seeing all the
Nice.
sights. What else? What else is going on? There's a couple surprises. It's kind of fun to watch. Anything else? Eh, Johnny Cash. Hung out at the Johnny Cash barbecue. That's about it. And a couple pictures I took. Oh yeah, and then on the way back we went to White Castle. So and got some gas at Flying J, $4.09 at somewhere in Columbus, I believe. And that's about it. So, but that was our little trip. This is all we did. Get out of Buffalo for a little bit. But I mean, we've been out of Buffalo. It seems like the majority of this year already. We were only back from February to March. I think we left March 9th, 10th maybe. So yeah, so we were only back for 2022. We've only been in Buffalo for a month, and now we're back home. So that's about it. That's all that's going on. Good times, great people, and good experiences. My daughter, she loves just getting out, doing things, finding out what's happening in the world, you know, enjoying the sights, the scenery, and so on. Meanwhile, Europe is going crazy. Europe is Europe is up in arms over this whole Russia invasion thing. One thing that I've noticed, and which again, it's happening again. I mean, the internet has been the wild, wild west of information for so long, and now people have been using it to block information from what's going on. Now, there's different outlets that have been banned. RT, or used to be called Russia Today, has now been banned not only on YouTube and other, but now it is on my Roku app that I had for RT. Now I don't support Putin whatsoever. I think he's a punk. I think he's a jerk. You know, his motive for what he's done is understandable, but the results of what he's done is unexcusable. There's a lot of targets that are killing civilians, you know, innocent people. Innocent people are getting killed. Now, the counterpoint to that, though, is how much of those collateral damages, so to speak, was induced by Ukraine, the government, the army, the military. All right, that's the thing. That's the other point that the Russian television tries to make is that that Ukraine is killing their own people. That's what they're saying. They're not going to try to tell that to the rest of the West. The West ain't going to hear it. They just see Putin being a bully and taking over a country. And they're raising up the hands of Zelensky, the victim, the one that's in, you know, needs help. Why is America hesitant in supporting Ukraine more militarily? Do they believe in what Putin is doing? Somewhat. There's been corruption. I mean, if you go back to 2014, and before that, even, I mean, there was corruption in Ukraine that the United States was against. Joe Biden was quoted as saying, "We got to do something about it." Because Zelensky is of Israeli descent. There's there's a there's a fine line there. Okay, we're in a woke culture. We're in a cancel culture. We're in a culture of, you know, you say you do something wrong, you are the bad guy forever. That's what we're in, and it's wrong. It's the way they're doing this is wrong. Public shaming, blocking, social media wise, anything, any outlets that you could possibly get, they're blocking everything because they want to control what information you get. They want to control that storyline. You know, I got a question, and maybe somebody can answer this. I'm going to put the number up there. Call me if you want to. I got a question. What's going on in Africa? This to me feels like a smokescreen. I know China's kind of like watching to see what Russia gets away with, so to speak, to see what they could do in Taiwan or the South China Sea, which is what they've been building for the last couple decades, building islands that are unauthorized in the South China Sea, getting away with it. I like to see what is really happening in Africa now at this point. I mean, we don't have news outlets covering all the wars and the conflicts down there like this is happening in Europe. The Middle East, even, we've had a lot of coverage of Afghanistan and Iraq because America was there fighting. It was an American um, incentive, an American push militarily. And there's a lot of stories there that media outlets controlled. But you know what? Thank God for people that are out there around the world that question everything. They question everything. The people that question the most, though, that get the answers, the truth behind things, not the narrative that is being controlled, are the ones that are being suppressed. Their information is being suppressed. And I look to other sources of information because there's primary sources out there that do not have the truth. They hide that truth because they're afraid. Some of them are, you know, they're getting shut up some way, one way or another. I mean, could be bribes, it could be threats of people's lives, their families. Could be a lot of things that's going on. I'm speculating right now, obviously, because I don't know the details. But I question things a lot. And I'm not the only one that's sitting on their couch or listening in their telephones somewhere. They don't even call them telephones, they're just cell phones. Listening, on their apps, or watching or listening on satellite radio or whatever. There's all kinds of outlets. People are questioning, and we're not really getting the answers. So I always ask questions. I always ask questions. And I put that my last tweet was always ask questions. Never take the the headline from a newspaper, never take the breaking news flash from, you know, the cable stations. It's cable news. I mean, there's very there's very little journalism going on nowadays. It's not journalism. It's people controlling stories. They're not journalists though. They're storytellers. And some of them are just entertainers. That's all they are. Me included. I'm not a journalist, so to speak. There are moments where I could be a journalist. I do capture moments, when locally when something happens, and I'm actually with a camera and I record things and I show, hey, this is the results or whatever. So I do act as a journalist from time to time. A real journalist will ask everybody questions, not just one person or two person as their sources. Journalism is kind of dead, in my opinion. But it's good to have all these different outlets talking about these talking points. But it gets old. Some of these conversations going back and forth are getting old, like left versus right, whatever the case is, whatever one chooses over the other, candidacy wise, whatever. There are so many things that are getting revealed now. Now, election issues, okay? It's too late. It's too late for the election issues because Joe Biden was confirmed to be the elected president. Okay, so can't do nothing about if there was any kind of election fraud. We can't do nothing about that. You keep on pressing if you feel that you got the evidence and truth and all that stuff, but there's nothing you can do about it, really. Now Biden's supposed to go to Europe this week, I believe, and there's rumors of assassination. I mean, it's terrible. This is not a good way to run world politics. But unfortunately, there's a lot of evil people out there, so we have to be on high alert to all these evil people. Now, as Christians, we shouldn't even consider assassination as a way of, you know, slowing down the progress of somebody who's a dictator or authoritarian or whatever. Yeah, think back in Jesus' time when Rome was just tearing up the Middle East, and Jesus came up, claiming the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, ruler of the Jews, and the Sanhedrin, the Jewish leaders, were not going to have it. So they conspired with the government to assassinate Jesus. Okay, this is exactly what crucify was really the publicly crucifying, even is what happened. So the religious leaders who wanted control of the religion, conspiring with the government, the military, um, actions of the that foreign government to eliminate a person who was a threat to their power. Mahatma Gandhi was another person similar. He used, starving himself, a hunger strike to get his point across. Martin Luther King was assassinated. So were the Kennedy brothers. Anytime there's opposition to what's happening in this world, guess what? They try to use this alternative to control the situation of assassination. Now, I haven't seen a public crucifixion of a Jesus type in modern history. I haven't seen it. You could maybe want to comment about that. But that's kind of how people who are trying to be the ones in control of not only modern society but also the history of the story of history, his story, as some people like to use. We're not hearing a lot about what's going on in Australia, although they're almost like a sister country to the United States, similarly put together. We hear a lot about what's happening in Europe, but to me, I feel like this is a smokescreen. There's a lot of other things going on besides just one country being invaded. Again, Taiwan is right there on the other edge of China. And then you have the whole continent of Africa. I mean, there's so much that's been happening over the last 500 years that we don't know. I made a point. I took school at University at Buffalo, and we have a theater history class. Prior to 1700s, basically, and they're all focused on Europe. I mean, there was some Asia too. Yeah, don't get me wrong. They did cover India, China, Japan, as far as the history of theater, but the rest of it was all Europe. And there was, I think, really didn't talk about America yet because that didn't come later till later. But the point is, Africa is being like the history of Africa has been wiped out completely from modern stories, modern current events. There's a lot going on in Nigeria. I mean, that whole Western Horn of Africa is going on. So much going on. Maybe people are at nauseum talking about it, and that they want to move on from that. They want to hype up something new. But Nigeria's got a lot of battles between religious groups, mostly the northern Muslims versus the southern Christians, and the Christians are being persecuted the most. Then we got Western China, where the Uyghur Muslims are being persecuted by Chinese communists. And we got stuff in down south too. I mean, the drug cartels in Latin America they're just brutal, man. They're evil. They're brutal. They want to seem like they're compassionate because they're family men or whatever, but their kids get wrapped up in it, and half of their children die because of their involvement in that society. And they're all connected. They're all interconnected. Every continent is connected to each other on one level or another, whether it's drugs. I mean, go back to the 80s and you research the Iran Contra scandal. Okay? That's a big story. That's a worldwide connection. You got the Iran, you got the Nicaragua, you got the America, you got people from Russia, you got everybody is circulating drugs, money, and weapons. Those three things are king economies in any continent: drugs, money, weapons. Because you're always going to have people that want to get high. You're always going to have people that want to be rich. You're always going to have people that want to have power or, go to war with somebody. So these three things rule the whole world. And if you want to know what's happening in the world, follow the money, is what they say. Follow the money. The money trail would blow your mind. And because of, here's one thing that's bothering me. I did not approve of any money, nor did I vote for anybody that approved for a money going to Ukraine, as amount of money as they gave them. I did not vote for those people that approved all this money going to Ukraine. I'm talking Republicans alike, Democrats and Republicans in power in Congress. I didn't vote for any of those people that approved all this financial aid to Ukraine to fight Russia. Now, I understand on the surface what it could look like to some people. America is trying to avoid another Vietnam or Afghanistan situation where we're in a 20-year war and it's going nowhere. I get that, okay, but it's not a good reason to fund somebody because you don't want to go over there to help. There's more to the story though. You don't know the whole story. You know how like sometimes, like me personally, I've seen a couple people out in front of my yard in my neighborhood on the street somewhere. Two people yelling at each other, blah blah blah, you're this, you're that, blah blah blah. So I'm watching and observing it. I'm not really hearing all the words, but I'm watching it, and I can easily try to say, okay, I think that person's right and this person is wrong. I could judge just by what I think is going on. But if I don't know the whole story, I'm being not told what's going on, then I'm not really judging properly who's in the right, who's in the wrong. Chances are they're both in the wrong for some reason or another. I'm not going to get into details of why or who that situation was, but I've seen it, not just now, but throughout my life. You see conflicts, you see even police, apprehensions. You question all that stuff, like what did he do wrong? What's going on here? Blah blah blah. I'm a very inquisitive person, maybe often too judgmental at times if I don't know all the story. But I question everything. Somebody's doing something wrong in Ukraine. Somebody's doing something wrong in Russia. Somebody is doing something wrong in Germany, the UK, and yes, the US. Somebody's doing something wrong. Those are the people I'm praying for, but also praying God exposes that. We need to expose this. It's a dark world. It's dark leadership. It's dark dictatorships, dark totalitarians, dark hearts that do these things. Now, I'm so happy for those people that have the desire for world peace and all this stuff. Let's just get along. Hate crime this, hate crime that. I get it that you're trying to be nice to everybody, but not everybody's nice, okay? And sometimes you're mean too. You have an agenda. You support the agenda, and you're mean sometimes. Everybody's got a fault. Everybody. Nobody is right. Nobody has it all together. I like the way my father puts it. Like the beginning of his speech, he'll talk to people about, this person sins, people being judgmental. His way of kind of stopping the conversation of people being judgmental would be, there aren't any great I ams, dot, 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 and he'll continue on. It's all about Jesus' blood. That's the bottom line. The blood of Jesus is what covers sin. The problem is, some of these people claiming to be Christians are frustrating the grace of God. They're frustrating. It's by grace that we're saved through faith. That's not only the grace of God, but the mercy of God that's allowing all this crap to happen. All these people who think I'm in control, or I should be in control, and I'm the man, I'm the woman, or I'm the man trying to be a woman, or whatever you want to call it. All these people, they don't got it right in their head, man. They don't have, none of them are right. None of them. I'm not right. Nobody's right. There are some truths out there, but there are some people that don't they're not truthful to themselves, and they're not truthful to others. And it's especially the case when it comes to media entertainment. Okay. This News Corp, it could be Fox, it could be CNN, MSNBC. It's all news entertainment. Okay. It's sensationalism. It's all about swipes and promos. And the ones you can trust the least are the ones that have commercials running all the time. They're running commercials of toothpaste and drug companies and car manufacturers. All that money supports the narrative that they want. Also, you can't trust these news corporations. They're not news. They're news entertainment facilities. They're not journalists. They're personalities that can read a teleprompter very well. So do not trust these people, okay? Read between the lines, listen intently to what they're saying. Don't grab onto the words they say as truth, because chances are they're being told what to say, how to say it, if they have a paycheck from that company. You better believe CNN is going to control what their personalities say on air. Those producers, those people who have a certain point of view, that point of view will get across through their people. Do not be fooled. Now, people like myself, there's a ton of people like me out here doing podcasts, commentaries, all that stuff independently. I have no sponsorship. By the way, if you do want to support, go to my PayPal, Cash App. You can go to my website. You'll see all the different ways you can support. ShawnPGreene.com. But I got PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and I'm working on the Patreon. So that's a listener supported system, though. And, we haven't seen money coming in like I want to. So very few people are going to be influencing me. So, but I want you guys to consider supporting the show, calling in, making comments. I'm going to leave you with this, okay? There's a lot to talk about, and I have all week to talk about it. I have guests that I'll probably have on. So much more to do. I'm excited about this coming back on this podcast. You can listen to it, watch it, whatever. YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter is always live. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter is always live, and you can watch there on the replay. Twitch has a 14 days, and then it bounces out the older shows, but it stays on Twitter unless I get canceled, and then YouTube. And there are some things that are, every now and then they'll flag something that I have to either cut or it's copyright material. But you could always go ShawnPGreene.com. You can call, make comments. You can do whatever you want. I want you to interact if you want. If you want to be a guest, if you want to be in consideration for it, go ahead. Call me, email me. I'm on all the social media. ShawnPGreene.com. You'll see it. So my last comment, though, for today. Listen, don't trust anything you're seeing on the news. News agencies from the other points of view are being blocked. They are giving you access to a narrow point of view. Do you understand? Do you get that? Do you get that the American point of view even is very narrow compared to any other point of view outside this continent, even Canada? I mean, there's outlets for Canada. As a matter of fact, Rumble is a new platform in Canada that was launched that allows these shows to also air in its entirety, and it stays on that platform as well. So if you want to check that out, go to Rumble. That link is also on my webpage. But these news outlets that you're watching, you're seeing, you're hearing on satellite radio in America, you're listening to Americanized media, whatever is allowed, whatever these corporations sponsor. GlaxoSmithKline, Chevrolet or GM. These are the companies controlling the information for you. Independent agencies are great because they ask the questions, they get people to talk about other things. But a lot of these guys have been banned now. Some of them are on like Fox or whatever every now and then, but they can't really say everything they want to say on Fox, even. Okay. So don't limit yourself to getting information from the news outlets. Don't be lazy. Do your research. There are other outlets out there. Me personally, I like to listen and watch RT because they have documentaries they do from their perspective that we will never get in the West or North America. And then Al Jazeera out of Qatar, they cover everything, and they have documentaries, like great documentaries about what's happened over the history of Middle Eastern wars and how their perspective of Europe is, and Russia and America. It's You got to get these kind of perspectives, okay? Here I am, an Irish American, French Canadian, okay, in America, white as white can be, should be narrow-minded, thinking the way an American patriot should think, right? I'm definitely an outlier when it comes to that. I don't think all these ways that I'm supposed to think. You know, whether it's on the conservative side, I should be, like pro-white, and that's not true on the conservative side entirely. But there are some people like that. Or on the left, ultra woke. I'm not like that either. So you can't be either way. You can't try to fit in everybody else's mold, and don't let them fit you in that mold. Get the perspective for yourself. Do your research. Find out what else is happening out there. You're going to get a bunch of people, like myself. I'll post memes up there just to get a response. And it's not always what I believe or the narrative I support or whatever. It's just I'm s- I'm a satire-ish type of person, and I'm a troll-ish type of person at times. And I like to get a reaction, to get a conversation going, to see what people really think. So it's like a social experiment, if you will, using memes or posting stuff. If you see my Instagram, you'll notice I'll put up there. Some people upset about posting about this young man who won the championship for NCAA swimming, women's competition. We got to use the pronouns he or she or her, and it's a woman, and yet he's got, I mean, clearly, I'm sorry, I got to get to this before I leave. Clearly, there's something going on in the nether region that is unlike any other female in the women's swim team. Okay. And I don't want to try to get too graphic and point it out, but you get the idea. Okay. So it's terrible. I'm sorry, it's terrible. I don't hate him for trying. I think he's just trying to, you know, build his self esteem. I don't know. I don't know him personally. I can't explain it. And I can't you can't expect anybody in this world expect me to use people's pronouns that they want because it's respectful. I think it's disrespectful to not want to be in the image and likeness of God. So that's how that is. That's how I feel. We are all made in the image and likeness of God, and He did create man and woman. He created them. So if they want to use them and they, that's fine. But you can't tell me a male, a born male, should be called a her. It's not going to be happening on my. It's not going to happen from me. I'm sorry. And I don't hate. I don't hate him. I don't hate anybody, and I don't blame him for doing what he did. I do blame the people that allowed that. Now, if my daughter was in that swim team, I'd be irate. I would completely cancel this young man from that swim team. If that was my daughter's effort to be in first, second, or third place, and they got bumped from a guy who placed 400th in the men's swimming, only to be first in the women's swimming, bumped the other third place winner from that spot, should have been in the actual winner of that tournament, because he thinks he's entitled to change his gender. I don't blame him. I don't blame anybody that tries to do that. I blame the people who organize it and who allow it. Those people really need to be checked. I mean, let's start with the NCAA for one thing. Let's start at the top. So, done with my rant. I don't hate him. I wish that gentleman all the best in his life. I hope he does well, and I hope he, with this attack, I know he's getting attacked. I know he is. I hope that, I know he's handling it well. He must be, because that's a lot of attention. I don't wish anything bad on him. I hope he does well in life, but I do not support the idea that a woman can take over, a man can take over a woman's sport. Okay, I'm done with that. So gas prices are pretty high. We're out in the West Coast. One of my friends made a comment that I shouldn't complain. They have $6 gas, in California, and hey, that's the cost of living out there. Period. You know, everything's high in California. Housing, retail, you name it. Everything's expensive out there. And I don't live out there. I live in New York State. Luckily, this part of New York State is still pretty livable. It's still a reasonable market to live in. So Buffalo still is a good place to live as far as weather. I mean, yeah, it gets cold in the winter, but man, we don't get tornadoes. We don't have earthquakes. We don't have monsoons or whatever. We don't have the threat of a volcano. Snow. Snow's manageable compared to all of those other things. Forest fires. We don't have any of that stuff here. So, high taxes compared to some states, yeah. That's why people are moving to Florida in droves. Because Florida is supporting everybody. Because of Ron DeSantis. So, another topic for another day. Listen, I'm going to wrap this up. I just want to recap. Okay, we were on a little vacation, spring break. We were in Florida for a wedding. Went to Nashville for St. Patrick's Day. Spent a little time with family, a little bit here and there. We're back home. We're back on the grind. We're doing what we got to do. I'm back with the show, and we're going to amp up this studio a little bit better, make it fun, and we're going to have more guests on very soon. So stay tuned. Sean Patrick Greene. The Shawn P. Greene Show on Facebook. Just go to SeanPGreene.com. Call in anytime. Go to the podcast to watch the other episodes. And once again, I'm on Rumble. I'll go to that page right now, as a matter of fact. Rumble is a platform that, I mean, somebody's go back and forth. Okay. Gab was one of them. Gab got hacked a couple times. So I'm on Gab. I'm on Getter. Let's go. I'll show you real quick. Getter is like the your space to speak your mind. Okay. A lot of conservative views that are being shared there. Rumble is another place where a lot of people who are canceled that post their stuff up there, so you can watch some of my shows on there now. See if I can find it. Okay, so these are all the ones that are up there now. So feel free, go check it out. Shawn P. Greene Show is on Rumble. Again, the link is right there on my page. So once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on Mixcloud, thanks for watching on Rumble. If you're watching it usually a day later, thanks for watching on YouTube. And thanks for tuning into my TikToks that I'm starting to add little by little. I'm going to try to do one a week, something, until I get to that millionth, hit. Right now, about 1,400 is my best. I got a LinkedIn for my professional side. Twitter is just for goofy tweets, sometimes trolling tweets, questions. Post a couple of memes. Instagram, I put some memes up there. Facebook, kind of like I've been not doing too much on Facebook, just because I don't know. It seems like less people are using it anyways. Parlor, Gab, and Getter, I'm kind of posting simultaneously all the shows and all the real important things. So let's be with the Color Pop, downtown Nashville. Shawn P. Greene, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Once again, SeanPGreene.com. Call me anytime, 716 253 1870. Peace.